A new round of negotiations over the West Asia war is set to kick off, with Iranian negotiators arriving in Zurich and U.S. Vice President JD Vance on the way. Well, this comes as Iran said it was closing the Strait of Hormuz again over Israeli attacks in Lebanon. Before boarding his flight to Europe, Vance said he hopes to make progress on the nuclear issue and the Lebanon ceasefire issue. Iran's official broadcaster said Iranian negotiating team, including Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baqi said the delegation would demand implementation of other parties' commitments under the deal.
Well, the commitments are very clear. Clause 1 of the Memorandum of Understanding is the most important part of the parties' mutual commitments, namely ending the war on all fronts, including in Lebanon. We have adhered to our commitments. The other side was obliged to compel those under its influence, specifically the Zionist regime, to cease fire in Lebanon. In this regard, we have seen that they have failed to fulfill their obligations, and this constitutes a clear violation of the ceasefire understanding.
Meanwhile, Iran's top joint military command says the Strait of Hormuz would be closed to vessel traffic, citing alleged violations of a ceasefire agreement by the U.S. and Israel. The IRGC warned ships not to approach the waterway, a vital conduit for global oil and gas supplies. Opening the Strait of Hormuz was the first point of the Memorandum of Understanding signed by the U.S. and Iran. Iranian forces say the decision to shut the strait was taken in response to Israel's attacks on southern Lebanon, which they described as a breach of Tehran's agreement with Washington. The statement added that the closure was the first step in response to what it called violations of commitments, warning that further measures would follow if aggression continued. The announcement comes as Lebanese authorities say 16 people were killed despite the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. Lebanon's health ministry also confirmed the fresh Israeli strikes in the south and east of the country had killed 7 people, while 2 Palestinians were killed in the southern Tyre region. The decision to shut the Strait of Hormuz by the IRGC appears to raise the stakes ahead of the talks, as both sides seek to advance the interim deal signed on Wednesday by U.S. President Donald Trump and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian to end their almost 4-month war. Before the announced closure of Hormuz, maritime trackers reported that shipping traffic through the strait had reached its busiest level in 2 months following a deal to halt the U.S.-Iran war. According to data from tracking firm XS Marine, a total of 25 commercial vessels crossed the newly reopened strait on Thursday, the highest number since mid-April and more than 3 times the daily average of just over 7 ships since early March. The surge followed an agreement this week between Iran and the United States to reopen the crucial route as part of the deal to end the war, but came before talks between the two sides in Switzerland were postponed. Iranian forces had effectively closed the strait after U.S. and Israeli strikes sparked the war on 28th of February. Maritime authorities later reported dozens of attacks on ships in the area.